Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Santiago AQ over here, and today we're gonna be discussing why doing questions before you start reading or watching videos actually could make sense. Actually could be a better way to prep for the USMLE. So let's get to it. Okay, so here's the thing. Medicine is infinite. There's just too much information to learn, and the people who do good in the USMLE are not the ones that know every single thing about every single disease, about every single concept in medicine. That's not how it goes. The people who do good in the exam is because they get really good at answering questions about high-yield content, and they get reasonably good at all of the peripheral content. But at the end of the day, they realize that the USMLE has like a repertoire of topics that they ask. They don't just ask about everything. So keeping that in mind is really important. And I do think that everybody does it to an extent. Like everybody knows, for example, that studying for the USMLE with things like the Harrison for internal medicine, Schwartz for surgery is a really bad plan. You're gonna be handled a lot of tiny details that are not important. Now, the problem is that even though we have distilled a lot of this huge field of medicine into a few, 100 topics, there's still too much. There is still too much to learn. And we all know that. Like we all know that when we are in our phase of learning, reviewing these books or videos, everything feels just like overwhelming. So we start reading on cardio, and a couple months later we are on gastro, and by the time we're on gastro we forgot like 40% of the things we learned on cardio, and that happens to everyone. And not only that, once you get to apply the content you're learning, you realize, okay, first, I don't remember a bunch of these facts, and secondly, hey, it turns out that a lot of facts are really not that important. Like for example, in micro, some parasites really never show up in the test, whereas a couple of other bacteria, other viruses, like man, they represent like 40% of the whole microbiology Qbank. But you realize all of those things later in your prep. You lose a lot of time going over everything, covering ground, forgetting a lot of this, and then you learn what you should focus on, and then you reread that. So it's just a mess. So the way I propose things to play out is that instead of having like this dichotomy of first learning, then applying, you use your application resources to pinpoint which areas should you focus your efforts on to read further. So the way this plays out is that you have a block of questions in front of you. Now, those block of questions are a representation of the exam. So they ask mostly high yield stuff, and here and there some low yield stuff. Well, what you should do is you use all of those concepts in the proportion that are given to go ahead and review the information. So let's say you have a question on cystic fibrosis. So you go ahead and say, okay, this question is about cystic fibrosis and I got it wrong and I got it right. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna read whatever I need. If it's just explanation. If it's the explanation plus a book plus a video, I'm gonna do all of that to nail this topic so that I can not only answer this question correctly, understand why the answer is the answer there is, and also get all of the other questions that could be similar that will pop up in the future right. So you're taking advantage of the fact that the Qbank is a reflection of the proportion of high yield to low yield content of the real exam to guide your learning. Now, the great thing is that this technique is not dictating the resources you have to use. You can still use your books and videos and so on and so forth. This is just showing you how you should prioritize the content within them. And the only thing you really have to accept with this method is that the first few questions that you're gonna get about new topics, obviously you're gonna get them wrong. Like there's no way in which you're gonna get them right. But if you have this mentality of, okay, this question showed me a topic and I'm gonna get really good at this topic. I'm gonna read everything that I have to read about this topic in order to answer this and all of the future questions about this. If you have that mentality, once those other questions start popping up, you'll have them all right. So your score will naturally go up. And you can always just mark the question that you initially got wrong, do it afterwards and check if you actually learned the topic or not. But anyways, that was really it for this video. If you found it useful, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.
I can't get it out of my mind. You know I think about it all the time.